distance. About, checking in with you. Sure. And once those glaciers receded, left the lakes. Now in this particular area, in the sub-Appalachian, it left some other little interesting features. It left this scaling on the top of the riverbed rocks. Put an offer with conditions on this property in 2000 that this site would be able to do what we wanted to do, which was do a very high quality Bordeaux style red blend. We did wintertime as well as summertime study because of course we are in Canada. We can't just think about the growing season, we have to think about the winter also. We even did satellite analysis of our mountain to be able to understand where the shadow fell on the property, because again, our latitude up here in Canada, the differences at the tight parts of the season can be quite significant. At the highest point of the summer, that mountain casts a 90-minute shadow, less sunlight on that part of the vineyard than the areas outside of the vineyard. So less, of course, so in the fruit ripening part of the season, but impactful nonetheless. And basically did that to really south of Okanagan, Falls, Ramada, Poplar Grove is. The bench was planted following more research and study up here to find out what was best. And in this back corner, in the soil pit study, It's basically a vineyard monitoring system that collects weather data and stores it in the cloud. It collects at 30-minute intervals and basically stores all of that humidex, precipitation. Warning, they're actually very scared of you, and unlike other snakes, they give you a warning that they're both very slow growing, and I mean they're things in the desert.
Yeah,
the property when
I'll find you some today so you can do
we're not actually in the
very pale and
but there is even seeing how the valley Geringer is one of the few, again, the next vineyard that rolls to the south and east. So there's Margaret's, all of our way. See the slope really very well in terms of 3 benches. Yeah, so okay, this is about 9 here. I'd say this is the thing about the Okanagan.
I've been walking on the hills all day.
Very even, and you don't have a crazy crop.
Low disease pressure for the most part, except in a couple seasons, hey Jean-Marc, like last year and this year where it's been very wet in the spring. But generally speaking, low disease pressure, so if we can keep the canopy dry, then we don't have to spray as much. Now, even with organic sprays, of course. So we opted to use an undervine irrigator called a MaxiJet. It basically sprays out a disc of water underneath the canopy, and those discs sort of connect like a honeycombing of water underneath the valley floor for full coverage, including in the inner sward as well as under vine. The benefit, of course, for that is that it forces the root systems to really broaden, to deepen out into the subsoil as opposed to localize just around where the dripper water would be. And the other benefit, of course, is that it allows us to have the inner sward alive with vegetation in the high summer. Right now, when we still have a little bit of natural water rainfall, it's not as much of an issue, but come August and September, We basically didn't have rain last year from, when was it?
4 months.
4 months.
No rain.
No rain,
No rain.
exactly.
Wow.
So this, of course, gets very burned off
Yeah.
in that, at the end of that period, and without any vegetation. Well, of course, if we can keep that alive with the undervine watering, we can of course keep a more natural ecosystem for beneficial insects to keep managing the pest.
But I'm sure next week when we are going to get again 30
You know, anticipating that even though we have this wonderful water supply, and I would add that every single agricultural person and business in the Okanagan is drawing from that canal or another. That's right. So without irrigation, we are not, most of us are not really viable or in business on large scale. So we wanted to see if there was any means for us to be able to reduce our dependency on the lakes and the channel for water. So we started this bush vine experiment. It is now going into its sixth leaf. Definitely sixth leaf, so it's sixth growing
Right.
season. Definitely slower to mature than our other vineyards, simply because of the trials and ordeals that is being put through. Instead of high density like our conventional vineyards, which are 2,044 vines to the acre with trellises, etc., these are 2 by 2 meters apart, basically trying to give them lots of space to be able to stretch out those root systems to be able to get the water they need. Part of it was an evaluation of our annual water rainfall.
Yeah.
So
sometimes we say, oh, maybe we can harvest.
So we wanted to see whether or not, once these are potentially ripen at different times, and of course this is the second year now.
We have beautiful new oak barrel, French oak, of course, but to keep something a little bit more straight, I use stainless barrel. Like from different block, like for the robotic clone, I'm going to use only French oak barrel, but if I have Chardonnay with a little bit more fruity, fruity taste, I'm going to use stainless just to keep this fruit